Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening.
Hold one, Andre!
You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon.
You just made the list!
Oh my God!
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy! Goodbye and good night. Hold two, on bar!
It's still real to me, damn it!
Dummy!
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
Hold three, the moss covered, three-handle family Gradunzo.
Mamma mia!
And now,
Unchained.media presents the B Plus Podcast with your host, Greg Unchained.
It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin!
number four, armbar. I will never retire. I still got 200 more. I got 200 more holes to list.
B Plus Brotherhood, welcome to All The Wrest. It is me, your Mad of Mystery, and we are here to cover all the wrestling news that we don't cover in all our other scheduled programming. For those of you who haven't caught on by now, we split our view from the WWE Universe into two sections. We have Raw, SmackDown, and 205 Live covered by CJ and Danders, and over with the NXT side of things in NXT UK, we have super producer Greg and my big boy Mikey talking about all that stuff. But today, I've been hijacked, guys. I need help. Greg's here.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I got told early on that the fact that all the big AEW news has happened this week, saying you're going to come on, you're going to make sure that we talk about everything that happened.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of the Elite. People know this, and at this point, I'm sort of toying with the idea: do we do an All Elite podcast? You know, to fill our one day that doesn't have shows already on Tuesdays and start talking All Elite weekly. But then I'm like, I don't know. Like, I like just coming on and hijacking when All Elite do their big things. I like coming on and just hijacking all the rest and throwing it in here, because this is where being the Elite talk has always happened. And it's kind of, I don't know if there's going to be enough to make it a weekly show, you know?
Well, with the things with NWA have got their own YouTube show. MLW has got their own YouTube show. Now, Being Elite have also got a second YouTube show. It feels like I've just had to double the workload lately.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, you know, when you try to watch and cover everything, it gets hard. But yeah, it's just, I'm toying with the idea. People listening, let us know if you think we should spin off All Elite Talk into its own podcast. We've had bonus episodes where we talk All Elite and stuff. We'll probably be talking All Elite on the upcoming call-in show, I imagine, because it's a topic that everyone's interested in. But yeah, I'm hijacking today, and we're going to make this All Elite the rest, I guess.
Sounds good. Now, before we get into things, a few housekeeping. I cover all the birthday news. For tomorrow, by the time we release this, we've got Taiji Ishimori, our current IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, turns 36. Congratulations to him. And to former women's champion over in WWE and Impact, Victoria, Tara, wherever you know her from, she turns 48. So big congratulations to those two guys. And I think we should cover MLW. to start off with. What do you reckon, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. Superfight happened this week. Super overhyped.
Very overhyped. Now, I for those of you guys who listen, you kind of catch on by now. Like MLW, they do build. They're good at building to the next event. They're good at building up to things, and when it
Almost
finally
too
arrives, it's sometimes not the greatest. But there was a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of great things that did happen. So I will say that.
Yeah, it's like you're flirting online and everything's going good, and then you guys go out, you have a couple of drinks, and it's amazing, and there's so much anticipation, and you finally get back to their room, finally get back to their place, and you don't even get to the room, right? You end up in the hallway on the floor, and it's done. 3 minutes, 4 minutes and 14 seconds in this case, and it's done, and it's over, and everyone's like, well, that happened, I guess I'll see you next week, cool. And it's really awkward for everyone.
Which is probably the same amount of runtime as the main event, but we'll start from the beginning. We'll start with the MLW Tag Team Championship match between the Hart Foundation and the Lucha Brothers. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, this match was good. I felt like there were a few points where they weren't necessarily communicating too well. Like it seemed like there were a few bits where they seemed a bit off with each other, the two teams. But that happens from time to time. But ultimately, to me, the weird thing was Teddy Hart seemed to be the glue. And I don't know if maybe he speaks Spanish better, or I don't know, because, they all speak wrestling. So, but Teddy Hart seemed to be the glue, showing that he's a real veteran. But it was a fun match still. I enjoyed it a lot.
He has teased on the H2 TV episodes that he helped bring Lucha Brothers to America, so I'm sure there's a bit of history there. And yeah, like you said, Teddy did carry a lot of this match. Came out with his cat, who has its own Instagram, Mr. Velvet. That thing must have been terrified.
Yeah.
During your entrance.
I said it on Twitter, right? Like, I catching up on Major League Wrestling. Like, what the hell is up with the Hart family and their cats?
It's just like, he just has this, like, Teddy has this aura about him. I don't know, like, where he's so experienced, and he's just, you can't, as much as that MLW might want to change him to heel or something, like, people just love Teddy Hart no matter what he does, and I feel like they just kind of reinforce that with the fact that, bring your pets on, or just,
like,
wear
he
these
breeds
weird
cats, and I don't understand the Hart family obsession with cats. I don't trust cat people.
Oh, Davey Boy brought out his dog.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Right? Cody bringing Pharaoh to the... I'm fine with that. But cats... I don't trust cats, man. I don't trust cats. They're planning something. There's always one that hangs out, like, in the sewer. And that one's friends with all the house cats. Like, it comes by the windows. Like they're communicating some shit from the underground. I don't know. I'm just wary.
In terms of the matchup, this was great. I was worried because we had Ray Phoenix announced a little while ago saying he did his groins, and we weren't too sure whether this match would even happen, or if the match ended with the Hart Foundation becoming the new tag team champions.
Tag team champions. Yeah, we're big fans of the Hart Foundation here, so that made me happy.
Teddy Hart, double champion on his birthday. Big congratulations to him last week. Whew. And I will say, like you mentioned a bit of lack of communication. I feel like as well with the announcing team, like there was a bit of intermission, like silence before they really realized that the mic was on again, and they got back into the swing of things. But no, aside from that, it was a good start to the whole thing.
Yeah, the match itself, like, it was fun. There was fun spots. It was definitely the highlight of the entire show. I don't think they ever recovered from it, because the next match went way too long, and I think that may explain the issues that happened in the main event. I don't know if they were supposed to go this long.
No, that's right. And then we were talking about Koto Brazil going up against Ricky El Sicario now Martinez. So this whole feud is over Ricky attacking Koto in a nightclub, glassing him in the eye or something to that extent, and he had to wear an eye patch, and then Ricky took the eye patch, and now he's trying to get back at him.
Yeah. Like, so they supposedly have a personal issue, and then they get in there and they're like, we're going to wrestle. It didn't become a
And-
fight until like the last couple of minutes. And I'm like, why wasn't this match 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And just have a quick 5-minute fight, do the whole... Was it hairspray or mace that she used?
I feel like just the way the announce team react, they made it sound like it
Right,
was
so yeah, so
pepper
do
spray or
that,
something
do
like
the
that.
whole, do a quick fight, 5 minutes, pull out the pepper spray, do that. It did not need to go as long as it did. I mean, I was invested in the story for the last couple minutes, but all the grappling, I was like, don't you hate this guy? Like, punch him in the nose, kick his head off. What are you doing? Choke him or something. It's, yeah.
I am a bit confused how they're building both Koto and Ricky, because did you see the extra little vignette that MLW released this week?
I did not.
No, it was Ricky bringing Selena's bags around, and apparently he's never seen snow before, and he got like, what is this white substance on the ground? And he tried to eat the snow, and Selena's just like, get the hell over here right now. So I don't know if they're making him seem like he's her lapdog, or I don't know, especially since he won the match as well.
Interesting.
Very bizarre.
I mean, a Sicario is like the next one down the chain, right? Like, it's, you know, Pablo Escobar had his Sicarios. They're like the second, like they're like the right-hand men. So, yeah, but carrying her bags, that's a bit much. That seems like you have a bag boy for that. The Sicario is not meant to be the bag boy. Anyway.
You think that she'd be rewarding him for winning his match, or like that low key, if anything, would be carrying her bags, but we'll get to that in a second. In the intermission before the main event, I just wanted to touch on this while the Hart Foundation was celebrating all their gold, MJF returned to try and psych out Teddy Hart, but ultimately came up short. Like, how often do you see MJF school on the mic?
Yeah, it's not often. MJF is a master. I really enjoy MJF, but yeah, Teddy Hart gave it to him.
Like no, he tried to say like, oh, the champagne's cheap, like you stole that title from me, and like Teddy's just like, my friend, piss off, join the elite, we're having a party.
He was very,
it was
very matter of fact. I love the fact that he's just like, you know, go join the elite buddies, because he has signed to All Elite Wrestling. But is he still going to be working MLW? I don't know. I know it looks like Lucha Brothers are on their way out of MLW, but I think MJF might still be allowed to work it. We'll get into that stuff, I guess.
Absolutely, and now the main event of this episode of Superfight, the World Heavyweight Championship, 8
the
months
3-minute men,
Low Key versus Filthy Tom Lawler.
3-minute men.
The 3-minute
again,
men.
I'm being disingenuous. I timed it. It was 4 minutes and 14 seconds bell to bell. So, yeah, it didn't feel like they were setting up a 4-minute match. Like, the build was huge, obviously, and then I mean, you got like a 15-year undefeated streak, and like that's Andre the Giant. That's Andre the Giant.
Deal.
Like that's anyway.
A big deal.
Yeah, the match went for 4 minutes, but it didn't feel like a 4-minute match. It felt like they were putting together what was supposed to be like a 12 to 16-minute, 15-minute match, and they got the call from the back like, oh shit, we have a minute before we're off air, and so they just sort of wrapped up the match out of nowhere. That's how it felt to me.
Which is weird because they actually even said that if they run over time, Bean will actually allow them to keep going. So
yeah, they said that,
according
but
to
maybe
them anyways,
they didn't mean that. Maybe that was their wishful thinking. And then, like, the announcers are saying that, like, if we go over time, they're going to let us keep going. And then the B&S sports executives backstage were like, no, we won't. No. And so they got the call in the ring to the ref, and they that's what it felt like to me, because it definitely felt like the match was I mean, they set up spots, like they were building things, and then it ended.
Yeah, look, I kind of figured that Tom Lawler would win this match anyways, and like you knew that's kind of what it was building up to. As much as like even some of our own team here, they weren't as stoked about this as well. Like I didn't mind it so much, just because Tom Lawler, his strength is his fighting background, and if his opponent carries a lot of the match as well. I
guess the idea is if he gets the choke in, no matter how far into the match, no matter what's been built up, if he gets that choke on, then it's over because he's a legit dude. And I get that, but at the same time, just as a wrestling match, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was not good to watch. It was like, okay, where's this go? Where's this go? It's going nowhere. Okay. Yeah. Cool. It was like legitimately when I used the analogy of bad first time sex with someone, like it was legitimately like that. It was like he just flipped her over and it was about to get good and he's done. You know? Filthy Tom does it again. 4-minute Tom.
Well, whoever attacked him backstage moments after, apparently, the reports this week, so it might have been a disappointed fan, perhaps, or obviously lead to something, but...
Yeah, who knows? But I think that's enough talk about MLW Superfight. We are big MLW fans, I feel like, out of MLW, Ring of Honor, and Impact at the moment, who are all kind of playing around the same level. MLW are the ones putting on the best content, generally speaking, but this Superfight was super bad.
We'll move on to NWA, and I actually have some NWA news to talk to you guys about. So I feel like the wrestling gods have answered my prayers, and they've given me more NWA than I would have anticipated. So we have, not only do we have the latest 10 pounds of gold, but we have a new YouTube series called One Nation covering Willie Mack as the NWA national champion.
Right, Willie Mack hinted at it a while ago. I remember talking about it. I remember saying, maybe Willie Mack gets his own series. That'd be amazing if Willie Mack gets his own series. And now, Willie Mack gets his own series, the unfortunately titled for us here in Australia, One Nation.
Yes. Of course, like, for them, it's the fact that he wants to defend the belt in all 51 states in America.
Yeah.
And
for us,
his goal. But...
And for us, it's a crazy redheaded lady who runs a fish shop and hates Asians.
Yeah.
Like, I wanna look this up, but then I have to risk putting One Nation into my search history. I mean, I'm sure that puts me on some kind of blacklist, right? I don't even know.
We should just put that on the community page, just saying, like, what do these two things have in common? But, I will focus on the NWA, the 10 pounds of gold specifically, because we're ramping up to the Crockett Cup happening April 27th, and NWA are not only partnering with Ring of Honor, but also New Japan and CMML.
Yeah.
This looks great.
It does. The wrestling world in 2019, we said it was going to start taking shape. We said that things were going to change. And yeah, NWA working with Ring of Honor, working with New Japan Pro Wrestling, working with CMLL. Of course, CMLL, New Japan, Ring of Honor, they have been working together for a while now. You got to assume this means that Rev Pro will get roped into this from over in the UK. You got to hope that will happen anyway. So it's really cool. It's very interesting also to see, of course, the AEW relationships, which are shaping up, which they talked about at their press release, which we're going to get to soon, and, with some of the enemies. It's almost like the Allied Nations, and, it's like World War II. Instead of World War II, it's Monday Night War 2. I think that's what we should call it, even though it's not going to take place on a Monday night. It's not a ratings war. It's a completely different thing. I think that's the closest analogy. Mm-hmm. If there was World War I and now World War II, we had the Monday Night Wars, and this has to be the Monday Night Wars 2, because it's, or we could just call it the Tuesday Night Wars, especially if Elite go on Tuesday night where SmackDown used to be. But the relationships are firming up and people are drawing lines in the sand. I feel like, we speculated whether AEW will end up having a New Japan relationship. I feel like it's looking less and less likely because CMLL and AAA are super enemies. It's fascinating. I'm like, my corkboard that I have up there, I've turned it into a map. I've started putting dots on the map, and I'm like, we got soldiers here. How are we going to attack from behind? We've got to flank them. I'm coming up with all different scenarios. It's great.
Absolutely. Now, what we'll do, before we cut on to the other AEW news, we'll have a quick word from our sponsors.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
We are all WWE fans here. It's why we're here, listening to this show and spending inordinate amounts of hours consuming, complaining, and just generally eating, sleeping, and breathing professional wrestling. But if you want to take that to the next level, the only place to do it is WrestleMania 35 in the city so nice that they named it twice, New York. And our new friends at All Aussie Travelers are going to help you make that happen in the best way possible. They are new to the wrestling travel game, granted, but they have over 15 years experience in sports and event tours between the US and Australia, so you know you're in good hands. They want to offer you an exclusive WrestleMania package, including return flights to the USA, 6 nights at the New Yorker Hotel right next to Times Square. And the thing that sets these packages apart are the VIP suites that AAT have secured for WrestleMania. So that's, of course, the Raw after WrestleMania. So not only are you going to go to the Hall of Fame, not only are you going to go to WrestleMania 35, but for NXT TakeOver, SmackDown Live, and the Raw immediately after WrestleMania that next night, you are going to be in an exclusive VIP suite that is not normally available to the public. But AAT, they got it locked down. They got it waiting for you with your name on it, your own private entrance, your own private toilets and bar, as well as an unparalleled view in the most comfortable seats in the house. You can experience WrestleMania weekend like never before, all at really competitive prices. So head over to All Aussie Travelers on Facebook, hit that like button, send him a message, send an email to Jack, that's JAAK, at allaussie.com.au, and let them know the B Plus sent you. Sorry to interrupt the podcast, B Plus players, but I just need to take a second to tell you about Threadbox. Threadbox is a subscription service for men that makes looking good easier than ever before. Just fill out a few questions to start building your style profile, and from there you will be paired with a stylist who will send you new threads once a month, so you don't have to worry about checking the stores and finding new clothes. It's like having a personal shopper and stylist at your fingertips, and you just sit back, relax, wait for your awesome new gear to arrive in the mail. They sent me a box this month. I got a new pair of jeans. I got 2 shirts. You can check out the unboxing video on the Facebook page. And the best part about it is you can get in touch with your stylist by email at any time. So if you need new singlets, if you need new long sleeves, if you need new shoes, if there's something specific you want, you just let them know what you need and they'll tailor the box to your specific requests. It's a completely personalized service available on any budget. You'll always get way more value than you pay for because Threadbox work with all the best brands. Boxes start from just $40, and if you use our code, the B+15 at checkout today, you're going to get 15% off your first box. So what are you waiting for, man? Like, if you want to look better with less effort, head to threadbox.com.au and use the code the B+15 to get your box today.
And we're back, guys. We're going to cover all the big news and all the rest. Now, quick rundown. Let's talk injuries. Now, not as many names as the last time. I'm back here with Greg, and there's a few names here. We've got Sasha Banks and Seth Rollins, still appearing on Raw, still active competitors, but looks like they've both got not been cleared to fight for about a month or so, so they're not out of their respective WrestleMania matches if that comes around. What do you think about all this, Greg?
Man, I didn't even see the injury stuff till you sent me, what we were going to be talking about today, so I'm not even sure. What kind of injuries are they dealing with?
So for Sasha, it's just the fact that after her fight with Ronda, she hasn't been cleared. So this past Monday Night Raw, her and Bayley. Bayley was the workhorse during that match, and Sasha kind of came in towards the end. So
right, because
they both have undisclosed injuries, as far as I'm aware. They haven't actually.
So it could be a work. Could be a work.
It could be.
I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, neither of them have had a match with Nia Jax. I don't understand how they could be injured.
Well, the last person that Nia injured Becky. The whole story with her, with maybe her leg is acting up from Royal Rumble. That feels like more of a work, but we'll see how that.
I feel like that's definitely a work. That's part of their story heading into WrestleMania, and I'm loving every minute of it. They're making Becky a star. I kid, of course, about Nia Jax being an injury force, but can you allow me to put on my conspiracy hat for a moment?
By all means, do so.
Dean Ambrose is on his way out of WWE, and they've announced now. It's being advertised. WWE are putting on an intergender match at a house show, though. But it's being advertised for the house show circuit for SmackDown, for Raw, sorry, that Dean Ambrose and Nia Jax are facing off in one-on-one action on some of these house shows. Conspiracy, Greg. thinks that maybe Vince wants Dean Ambrose to be unable to compete for anyone else. Is this a thing? Is this? I don't know. I kid. Nia Jax is great, but there is that history there, and so
there's the history. There's the timing of this all, and like they are advertising it as an intergender special attraction, according to the quote.
It's a little bit suspicious. That's all I'm saying.
A little bit suspicious. So that happened in Arkansas on the 22nd of February. So I've got a couple weeks before that. I mentioned last week as well, it feels like they're slowly trying to creep in more intergender wrestling. Yeah. And, of course, Nia Jax is not your typical women's wrestler, so who better to start off with, I guess?
Yeah, no, I think that they know that AEW are open to that kind of thing, and so they're sort of like testing the waters to see if their crowd will accept it, I guess. Which, I mean, we saw the Twitter blow-ups and stuff. There is a contingent that will not.
No, absolutely. We've got a few bits of other WWE news here. I will cut to NXT. Of course, you covered the latest NXT episode where you gushed over Eric Guggenhagen.
Eric Bugenhagen. Do you want to be cancelled? Do you want to be cancelled? I already cancelled Big Boy Mikey. All right? I will cancel your ass.
Guys, of course.
It's Eric Bugenhagen. He is the greatest professional wrestler who ever lived.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to trigger Greg, guys. I know who
in a few short years, people will be referring. I've seen people already refer to him as, he's just American Tanahashi. Why? Because he air guitars? That's the only similarity. Eric Bugenhagen is ripped. Eric Bugenhagen is charismatic. Eric Bugenhagen is the man. He's the greatest professional wrestler who ever lived. And in 5 years' time, people will be calling Tanahashi that Japanese guy that acts like Eric Bugenhagen.
Well, the reason I bring up Greg's affection for Eric is because on Halftime Heat, it was the most watched NXT match in history.
Yes, it was. Imagine how many more views they would have gotten if Eric Bugenhagen was involved. But no, Halftime Heat, a 6-man tag. I gave it 5 stars. It's actually currently my WWE match of the year so far for 2019. It was an incredible match, and what a fantastic ad for NXT for that to be so many people's first experience with NXT, switching over from the halftime show. I saw photos of people who were at the Super Bowl in the stands, and Maroon 5 are playing, and they've plugged in their headphones, and they're watching Halftime Heat on their phone. So, sorry, Maroon 5, you're basic. But, yeah, it's the most watched NXT match in history across all social media channels. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And it feels like WWE are slowly starting to gain a bit of momentum going into 2019 with everything else that's been happening. So if not, they're on a bit of an incline, which is good to see. Moving on to other news, the Phenom, the Dead Man, Undertaker. Did you know he is able to appear in conventions and other promotions now?
He is. But hang on, I just want to go back for a second. You talked about WWE's momentum, right?
Yes.
Did you find it interesting that they broke a whole bunch of news like an hour before the All Elite Wrestling rally? Did you see all this?
Yeah, no, I did,
like an hour before the All Elite Wrestling rally, you've got, WWE had their best financial year ever in 2018. Here are all these amazing numbers, which no one gives a shit about. People don't want numbers. People want stories. And WWE, of all people, should know that, right? People want stories. You can tell us how great your year was in numbers. No one gives a shit, right? Unless it's Royal Rumble. Unless it's Big Show threw 30 men over the top at once. No one cares unless it's part of the story. And the story of WWE right now is they're on the back foot. I'm sorry. But just the fact that you're releasing that, because it was that and it was the international the international superstar shakeup, right? Was announced officially as well. And all these things are happening like an hour before the All Elite Wrestling rally to try to capture the headlines. And it's like, no, that's the move of a company on the back foot, which is crazy.
It's add to that where their Starcast, of course, is on the same day as Double or Nothing. And the previous Starcast, Starcade, apologies. Yeah. Previous Starcade was also during All In. So It seems very petty. I will agree to that.
It's I don't know if it's petty. I just think it's like, oh shit, there's something going on, and we need to make sure that we're the thing people are paying attention to. And the only way to do that is more Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch is legitimately the only thing hotter than All Elite Wrestling right now in the wrestling world. Becky Lynch, All Elite Wrestling. Daniel Bryan is like close third, probably.
The way they're building her almost bigger than the company at this point,
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, how crazy is it that 2019, Becky Lynch and Daniel Bryan are the two biggest, hottest things in WWE, and they're the two things that WWE don't even want. Like, it's. I hope that they're paying attention. I hope that they're realizing, like, okay, we need to rejig some things. But it's. I just thought that was really interesting. Because WWE are building momentum, but the way they're telling us about the momentum, I don't think they don't have as much momentum as they should, being the biggest company in the world. They should be in a much better place than
I
they
try
are.
and be optimistic here.
No, I know, me too.
Yeah,
I am too. I'm optimistic. I love wrestling. I think that everything that's happening right now is great for wrestling, and I think that WWE will get better because of this, because we've seen it happen before. But it's just real interesting to see. But as you said, Undertaker, he's a free agent now.
Yeah, he's removed all mentions of WWE from his social medias, which the fact that, yes, Undertaker does have social medias, and apparently, like, you too could have The Undertaker join your show for $25,000 US
an hour. Yeah, I told Aiden to book him for Iron Fist. I'm like, book Undertaker for Iron Fist, have him be the bell ringer. It'd be amazing. It's the most expensive bell ringer in history.
Oh dear, but it seems like, especially like one of those characters of all, like the Phenom, the Dead Man, the one who's kind of shrouded himself in his character for so many years, like now the veil is kind of lifting as these past few years especially, and like with word that he hasn't been booked for a match yet for WrestleMania as well. Like,
obviously he's set
sure
to go to All Elite Wrestling, right?
Oh, clearly everyone
is elite. That should be the name of our podcast if we do it. Everyone is elite. Because that's the thing, right? As soon as there's a person sends out a tweet or a picture of them back in the day with the Young Bucks, or anything, any tiny thing, and everyone's like, oh, this person must be going to All Elite. This person obviously wants to go to All Elite. Okay, here's the thing. Not everyone is going to want to go to All Elite, but what everyone wants to do is make sure that everyone knows that they know All Elite is a thing, so that when their contract rolls around, they can get as much money as possible. That's all it is. Absolutely. It's a business tactic. But yeah, and Undertaker, I guess they didn't have a match for him, so he's like, all right, I'm going to start doing the festival circuit. I'm going to start doing conventions and stuff. Because, I mean, look, a Comic-Con, right? If he was booked at New York Comic-Con as an independent, like, attraction, they're going to make back that $25,000 in a heartbeat. So,
easily.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things. It's a really a nothing story, but it's pretty interesting at the same time.
I will just we're going to save like most of the AEW information till the end, but of course one of the big stars, the WWE lifers that was rumored apparently to be in talks with AEW was Randy Orton.
Yeah, no. And then Bob Sapp, is that his name? The guy from Fightful who people took the story out of context from. He didn't say that he's talking to them. He said that he's willing to talk to them. So
yeah, willing to talk, and everyone's just
Chinese whispers on the internet. It's disgusting.
Absolutely. Oh dear. And
I mean, look, I'm sure that I've talked about things out of turn before as well. But like, if that ever happens and it's brought to my attention, I'll acknowledge it. I won't just ignore it. Like, no, I don't know. It's just all the stuff about everyone going to All Elite pops me every time. Did you see Mark Henry's back with WWE, though? I was listening to Sam Roberts' podcast yesterday. It was very interesting. Have you seen this one?
I haven't, but I heard that he wants to come back just to clean up the locker room.
No, it's not that he wants to. He is. They've brought him in as a paid locker room leader, I suppose. Which, if Cody Rhodes is to be believed, if you say you're a locker room leader, you probably aren't. CM Punk. I still want that match to happen. We'll get there. Mark Henry is brought in, and it's the first time in history they've had this role. Basically, he's just there to keep the locker room in line. He's not an agent. He's not helping anyone put matches together or anything. But he's the guy who's like, hey, pick up your trash. right? And he's the guy who's going to go to Vince if anyone's out of line and be like, this guy needs to be fined because he ain't listening to shit, right?
So he's the hall monitor.
Yeah,
of everything else.
he's hall monitor Mark Henry. Hall monitor Henry. Can we get him on TV with that gimmick, please?
So the Hall of Pain has become the hall monitor. That's okay.
I just want him. I want him wearing a sash. I want him to come out to ringside, and I want, when someone is doing a hold on the ropes and the ref's doing the 1, 2, 3. He's like, you better break on 5. He's just a real stickler for the rules. You better break on 5. Make sure you take your jacket off. He's like, make sure you give that to the ring bell guy. You don't leave that jacket in the corner, okay? You be polite. I don't know. It's Hall Monitor Henry is hilarious to me.
We're going to make that a thing. And one of the things that I will cover as well with WWE, we talked about the women's division before. Ronda Rousey, she's making headlines outside of WWE. Apparently, she's helping open a suicide prevention center, which of course is wonderful news.
Yeah. So in LA, it's the Dindy Hirsch Mental Health Services, and they're opening a suicide prevention center that Ronda Rousey's sort of helped out with there. Which, I mean, we know that Ronda Rousey has dealt with mental issues before. And we all go through shit, and I think that I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that she wants to help out the community in this way. I think it's pretty awesome.
And one of the other bits of WWE news, WWE returning to Saudi Arabia in May for their next scheduled appearance
Cancelled.
in Riyadh. Cancelled.
No, I'm not. I'm not one to cancel the WWE Network or anything, because I do. I like to support the things that I like, and I do like wrestling, and it is the pinnacle of wrestling. They make it hard, though. They do make it hard. I've talked about this a lot with and I will not cover the show. If other people on the network want to cover the show, I have said that they are allowed to, but I will not personally endorse or cover it in any way until such a point that progress is made. Now, I've always said this. WWE say that part of why they're over there is they want to help this nation become a more progressive nation. If that's the case, I will applaud them when that happens. But in the meantime, I can't, man. It's pretty gross.
No,
it's pretty gross.
I will say, one of the main reasons I bring that up as well, just because all the facts and figures that WWE released before the big AEW rally, they are on the increase, but predominantly that's mainly from their relationship with the Saudi Arabian royalty.
Yeah, it's all blood money. It's all
it's all the money from there. So they're, of course, to stay afloat in certain regards. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons they're continuing this. But so yeah, moving on to non-WWE news, Lucha Underground, another company that's in a bit of hot water. They're actually getting sued.
Yes.
So King Cuerno, of course, along with a couple other stars as part of Lucha Underground.
Also known as El Hijo del Fantasma elsewhere
exactly.
in the world, of wrestling. So he's King Cuerno in Lucha Underground,
So that's the mark coming out in me. But he's suing the TV companies that hold the contracts to Lucha Underground and claiming hundreds of thousands, not only for him, but for the other wrestlers
it's a class action. There's actually a couple of lawsuits happening. There's one that is trying to get them released from their contracts now.
Yes.
So there's two lawsuits that are happening. One that's trying to get them released from their contracts now so that they can find work. The other is arguing, and the other one's interesting. It needs the judges basically to rule that from the very first day these contracts went into effect, they were unlawful. They were not, they were against the spirit of the law or whatever you want to call it. And so they will, if they find that that's the case, that from day one the contracts were unlawful, then what the wrestlers are asking for is compensation for all the places they could have potentially worked. It's a very hard thing to police, but I guess some of the more top names will get more money because they would have been able to work extra places and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And in the last few years alone, you could say I would have been a part of All In, or I would have been part of this big events over in TNA or New Japan, where have you, but it's going to be a very fine line how they come up with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for that one,
But it's also the also interesting thing to me is the timing of this too. Obviously Lucha Underground, a lot of their guys are AAA guys, so some of the AAA guys will not be able to work on American TV for All Elite Wrestling, even though AAA have a partnership, which we'll talk about in a minute. So I find it very interesting, the timing of this lawsuit, because these guys have been wanting to do something about these contracts for a while, right?
Yeah.
And now that it looks like season 5 isn't happening, is it possible, once again, I'm grabbing that conspiracy hat a lot lately, could Tony Khan be funding this lawsuit? Just a little under the table money. Here you go. Go get the best possible lawyer and get yourself out of this because we want you on TV, Mr. Cuerno.
It wouldn't
I think
surprise me, considering the last Being the Elite episode, they actually, openly, at the intro, Joey Ryan saying, "Oh, can I be a part of All Elite Wrestling?" And they're just like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy who signed with Lucha for life." Just cuts the intro. But
it's interesting, and I wouldn't be surprised to find out that there are lawyers somehow linked or associated to the Khan family. I would not be surprised at all.
Now we've been holding ourselves back till the end of this episode, but we can finally talk about all the All Elite Wrestling news, and there was a lot to unpack here.
The elite. Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff for All Elite this week, man. You want to start with Being the Elite? Is that where we'll start? Being the Elite, Road to Double or Nothing, and then the gigantic press rally that they held at the pool, the pool party, the talent pool. I can't remember what they called it. Something like ticket
that.
Announce party.
Okay, so we'll start with episode 137 of Being the Elite, the handshake agreement, where we immediately open with Hangman Page being asked into the office by Cody, and he's talking to his advisors, Billy Gunn and Christopher Daniels, to break some news to Page gently.
Well, no, it was Billy Gunn first. Billy Gunn is called the coach, right?
The coach.
And they're like, all right, coach, I need you to let him know, he can't be going around in full gear, until he does something about his physique. And then Billy Gunn, in probably the best delivery of his career, and he's had some zingers. He's like, all right, Paige, you're fat.
I've been practicing for this. Paige, you're fat. Yeah.
It was amazing. And it's, body shaming aside, obviously Hangman Page is very much not fat. No. But it was, in fact, I'm pretty sure Billy Gunn in his prime was fatter than Hangman Page is. But no, it was hilarious. And then Christopher Daniels had to relay the same message in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
Which, what did he suggest? He just suggested that he get new gear.
Yeah,
right?
And he relayed the message that he's taking it under consideration to Cody, and they took that as a yes, and okay.
I love the way Cody is using the whole executive vice president thing, and how that they all think that they're the only executive vice president. It's amazing, and I can't wait to see how that goes with what we learnt at the press rally as well.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of stories to unpack with that. Other news from Being the Elite, we had Flip Gordon return since he was ganged up on, I think, as the best way to put it, from the Elite wrestlers. And he said to Cody, just watch out for MJF, and kind of incited Cody just to go at him, saying, don't talk about my best friend like that. But
yeah, so Cody loves MJF, and I think a Cody MJF tag team match at Double or Nothing would be awesome, but I don't think that's the way they're going, because obviously they do a bit of a tease at the end of the Double or Nothing Road 2 episode. But I just want to put a pin here. How do these contracts work? I don't know, because Flip Gordon is with Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor are not happy with the Elite, and Ring of Honor don't want to work with the Elite. Ring of Honor don't want New Japan to work with the Elite. But here's Flip Gordon, a Ring of Honor contracted guy, showing up on Being the Elite. I don't understand. Do Ring of Honor contracts of old not include YouTube appearances and stuff like that? Because, I mean, how would you anticipate that, I guess?
Feels like they found a loophole, and the company just trying to keep up and make sure it never happens again.
But you got to think Flip Gordon's not going to be at Double or Nothing.
No, I don't see it personally. especially as well. I think he's still a bit out of. I think he's still got his knee injury as well.
Yeah, he does. He has the knee injury. He's returning here in Australia with a world title match against Robbie Eagles, the World Series Wrestling World Champion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. We get his in-ring return. But yeah, at the moment, he's still out with that knee injury.
And other news from Being the Elites, Cody and Hangman Page surprised fans in Waterbury, Connecticut. They, of course, were just saying to all the fans, like, how would you guys like to be part of the YouTube channel? And, of course, the Young Bucks came out later on to confront the Lucha Brothers and called them the second best tag team in the world right now. But you could be the first if you join All Elite Wrestling.
Right, and this will come back when we get to the pool party. I thought it was interesting. Every other episode where we've seen them show up out of nowhere to surprise the fans, it's been fan cam footage or their own Being the Elite camera footage. And every single time it's done it, it's given me goosebumps. Like, their music hits and they come out and the crowd pop. And every single time the way it's been produced has given me literal goosebumps as I'm watching it. And this one didn't.
No.
And this one was with the actual official footage from the Come Hell or High Water show, and it had the commentary, and I felt like it took away from it.
Yeah, like they were talking to Brian Pillman Jr., who was surprisingly on. It must have just been at the event as well, but just like it kind of, they didn't announce that they were going to be going. They just kind of said like, "Oh, that's our music. We better get going." So yeah, I don't know. I think it was just the build up for that. I agree. I didn't get the same reaction as I have for the past couple episodes.
Yeah. I like the angle with the Lucha Brothers and calling them the second best tag team in the world. It was sort of there's shots fired. We've seen these guys face off in PWG and stuff. We know they can have an incredible match. These four guys are amazing. So it looks like we're heading that way for Double or Nothing. But yeah, that was Being the Elite in a nutshell, right?
Of course, and the last bit of information from
there. Oh no, the last part with Kenny.
Yes, his terrible dilemma. He is now a free agent, and he's had this horrible dilemma for the past couple weeks. He's been waiting nearly 15 years for this. Resident Evil games. What character will he play?
Well, you see, you're underselling it. So he's having a conversation with Nick Jackson, right, on the phone. And it's one of the running jokes with Being the Elite, of course, is their phone calls. Like, they will quite often show, like, they'll be talking on the phone to someone, but you can see their phone very clearly, and it's, like, opened on Messenger, or it's opened on a photo app or something. Like, it's never actually... They're never actually on a phone call. They're very fake phone conversations, which pops me every time. Like, I never fail to pop when that happens. My favorite one was, I think it was Brandy was on the phone to Cody. Cody was in a different place to Brandy, and he was on the phone to her. And Brandy had like a photo of Flip Gordon.
Yeah.
Open as she's I always pop for these things. But yeah, so he's talking on the phone to Nick Jackson, and he's laying it out like the hard decision he has to make is between WWE and AEW, right? Like, he's an independent contractor. I mean, I can go so many ways with my story, but do I go this way with the story or do I go that way? The most important thing right now is how do I start? How do I start this next part of my life? And he's talking about which character to play as in Resident Evil 2.
And of course, like,
it's amazing.
Matt's just like, I don't play video games. He hangs up at him just like, how did he get the phone number for my room?
Yeah, because he was talking on the actual hotel phone.
Yeah.
And do you listen to Observer Radio at all?
I pay attention to it. I haven't had the chance to for a while, no.
I feel like Dave Meltzer doesn't even know. Like, I don't think he understands the joke of them not actually being on the phone, because he pointed out that Kenny Omega was on a tablet. And well, first of all, Dave, tablets can make phone calls, but beyond that, he just doesn't seem to understand the bit. It's a bit, Dave. It's a bit. If we know they're not really on the phone, that's the whole point. I imagine if that was one of the hotel phones, I imagine when Nick Jackson picked it up pretending he was answering a phone call, like, some of those hotel phones go directly through to room service. Yeah. And so he's probably talking, and there's someone in room service on the other end of the line. He's probably just, before they've gone, he's probably just gone, look, I'm going to call back in like 2 minutes. We're about to film a bit. Just ignore everything I said. Like, it's in my own head canon. That's what I'm imagining had to happen, because a lot of those hotel phones direct straight through. So I just think it's hilarious. I love being the Elite so much.
Absolutely. And kind of a different change of pace. Like, we have, of course, now the new Road to Double or Nothing episodes. We had the second episode come out, which confirms that AEW have a new roster member, and that is the innovator of violence over in England, Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, so these ones happen over on the Nightmare Family YouTube channel, which formerly was just Cody. It was his YouTube channel. And they did these going into All In as well. They had a sort of a Road to series kind of thing. But yeah, these are looking fantastic. This is where we found out that Jungle Boy was signed as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so Jimmy. So I think this is going to be where we find out a lot of AEW talent announcements, and and probably introductions as well. They'll probably run video packages introducing us to some of the, especially like the Joshi girls and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool. We had a little video package for Jimmy Havoc, and he's signed now. He's heading over. He'll probably still be able to do indie dates, though. I imagine
absolutely.
The contract is great,
and it just shows the level of range that the All Elite Wrestling roster is bringing in. Of course, like with Road to Double or Nothing, these episodes, they are like completely in stark contrast to being Elite. So it's all very serious. So I agree that they will probably give us in future episodes introducing like get a very serious biographic before they appear at Double or Nothing. And of course I
imagine this will be the avenue to introduce people. They did have at the end though, they did play a little angle in there. Mm-hmm. One of the guys on staff came through and was like, "Oh, Cody, someone's on the phone." And when they actually said the person's name, but they censored it audibly with a beep.
Yes.
And they censored the mouth with a blur. From analyzing it very scientifically, meaning pausing it and watching it about 80 million times, I figure the name starts with a f, m, n, s kind of sound. One of those closed mouth sounds.
Yeah.
Could it be Phil Brooks?
It might be.
Phil Brooks fit in the beep when I tried to fit it in. A lot of people think it's going to be Goldust or Dustin Rhodes. He said it was personal, so I have no idea who this is going to be.
No, especially at the poolside party, like he again said that he doesn't have an opponent yet, so it's still up in the air at this point.
Yeah, this is going to be something that they tease us with for a while, I think. I know some people were like, "Oh, maybe we'll find out who was on the phone at the press rally." No, they're gonna keep this going for a couple of weeks. They'll probably go right up to the buzzer with us not knowing who Cody's opponent is going to be.
Which is good, because it means they have a lot of things still to surprise us with, I guess.
Well, that's the thing, too, is they need to stay in the news cycle for another, 8, 9, 10 weeks? I don't know how far away it is. How far away is May?
Feels like just over 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 12 weeks. Yeah. They have to stay in the news cycle for another 12 weeks. So, yeah, it's... I don't know, they're burning through things at a rapid clip. At this point, we know like 4 matches, or I think we know 4 matches. So it's pretty crazy to think that they've got 12 weeks to go with this thing. They might need to slow down a little.
And of course, now we can talk about the big news that everyone has been talking about, the Double or Nothing rally and all the news that came out of that.
Oh man. This rally, I've heard some people say it didn't deliver. I'm on the other side of the fence. I thought it delivered in a big way. I think everything down to the fact that nobody went in the pool. Nobody went in the pool.
We had a shirt in the pool. I don't know if that's,
This is, no, but I mean, look, you're talking about a pro wrestling party show announcement thing.
Yeah.
Held at poolside.
Yeah.
With angles, with attacks, with challenges, and no one went in the pool. When these guys say they want to change the world, they mean it.
Absolutely, and
God damn it, they mean it.
Just subvert our expectations, especially just like you think someone would have like swum in from the other side, but no, I see exactly what you're saying.
How did no one go in the pool? How did no one get hit with a pool noodle? How did Joey Ryan not have a pool noodle down his pants? It was amazing. They're changing the world. They really are. And I love it. No, they started though. They had a bit of a pre-show with with the same people from before, Conrad Thompson, and I keep forgetting the other guy's name, Alex Marvez.
Yeah, and I think, of course, Excalibur as well.
I don't forget Excalibur's name, buddy.
Okay.
It's the other guy whose name I forget, all right?
Okay.
I was getting to Excalibur. I was saving the best for last. But I think it's Alex Marvez. Alex Marvez and Conrad Thompson. And a lot of people don't like Conrad Thompson in this role. I love it. I think he's great. And then, yeah, Excalibur.
Mm-hmm.
Excalibur. Holy shit, Excalibur. Now, here's my thing. I like it. I'm here for it. I love it. My dream announce team, I'm putting this out into the universe. Please, being the elite gods, I'm putting this out into the universe. I want Mike Quackenbush. And I know he's doing, like, training at the Performance Center and stuff. But I don't think he's not signed with WWE. He's not a coach there yet. So I want Mike Quackenbush and Excalibur on commentary. That is my dream. I will watch everything you put out if those two are the voices of it, because holy crap. Excalibur's amazing. I enjoy his work a lot.
Absolutely.
He felt a little fish out of water
He did feel that,
hosting.
of course, yeah.
As a host, it was a little different, but anytime I see someone dressed up but still with the lucha mask, I pop for that. So, you know, it's got that going.
So we had, like, they started off, like, of course, with the pre-show. MJF came out to berate the crowd and the announcers, which is always good to see.
Yeah, he had a go at Conrad. He and Conrad have a bit of a feud going.
Uh-huh. And a couple of the new signings, of course, Sonny Kiss came out, which...
Sonny Kiss started the show. Fantastic signing. Sonny Kiss, of course, known in Lucha Underground as Exolicious and known around the indies as Sonny Kiss. I've had a few people confused, like, there was unfortunately a lot of comments on Twitter and in the live feed, if you were watching the live feed. Oh, is that a girl? Is that a guy? Like, okay, it's a person. It's a person. The announcers clearly referred to him as him, so it is likely that that is his preferred pronoun. But then, of course, it's not helped by the fact that he's a Brandy acquisition and people just assume Brandy is only doing the women's division.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of unfortunate comments, which bummed me out. But I'm really, really happy to see Sonny Kiss. And, representation does matter.
It does.
Right? And it's easy for me to sit here and say it doesn't matter. Because, like, even then when I said representation matters, I wanted to add on a little caveat. Like, I don't think it matters as much as some people put on, right? But then I have to stop myself because I'm like, no, because it's not for me. And that's the freaking point.
Exactly.
Right? That's the freaking point. It's real easy for me to say it matters, but it's not that important. What really matters is how good you are. And of course, how good you are matters. And here's the thing. Sonny Kiss is good. I enjoy Sonny Kiss's work. So, yeah, it's and the amount of people that you saw online as well, just being so happy that there's someone there who represents them. You know, how can you ever say that's not a good thing? Anyway.
Love it. So we have a whole bunch of other new signings, of course. So we'll try and get them in order as best we can. We had Sammy Guevara, the current AAA Cruiserweight champion.
Well, do we want to run down the entire thing that happened, or do we want to sort of talk about big points? And I've got the roster list in front of me if we want to talk about the entire roster. If that's
please,
what you want to do.
by all means, lay it out for us.
Okay. So this is everyone who is signed with All Elite Wrestling as of this press conference. Yes. We have announced, of course, that they are partnered officially with OWE over in China, Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, and representing OWE, Shima and Dragon Fu, the CEO, showed up as part of this rally, which was fantastic. I really enjoyed Dragon Fu's broken English, just trying to be so excited. Like, yeah, China, America, stand together. It's great. And I was like, it is great. This is awesome. I'm so excited for this. I'm a fan of OWE and AAA are their other partners.
Yes.
And of course, yes, AAA were represented by their cruiserweight champion, Sammy Guevara, who came out. I don't know what the exact name of the title, but he's essentially their cruiserweight champion as the Campeones de Cruiserweight, whatever it is. So he came out with the belt and everything and did his little promo and stuff. I'm very much looking forward to just the idea that, so AAA have a guy on their roster called Vikingo, who is quite possibly the best junior in the world right now. And OWE have guys that are doing things that you have never before seen in your life.
No.
And so to see Vikingo go up against someone like Gao Jingjia, like the possibilities for the opening matches and things on these All Elite shows, it's like WCW with how they used to have the cruiserweights and they would blow people's minds.
Yeah.
So the partnerships are so exciting. We also had so Brandy made her announcements, and going into this, I said Brandy needs to announce at least 4 women, or this whole rally will be a disaster. She announced 4 women, so very happy. You could have always done more. Always say that, but they've said that their women's division is starting to take shape, and it's looking pretty good. Kylie Ray was a big one that a lot of people will know from the American Independents. She's just an infectious personality. She came out and she did her whole thing. They had an unfortunate chant from the crowd where essentially she played into it though, and she ended up they chanted about her legs.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, do you like my dress? Like, I wasn't sure." And then she took her jacket off even though it was cold, and it was like she turned it into a nice moment, but it started a little bit creepy, guys.
Yeah, there was some interesting chants, but I'm glad it got turned into something a bit more wholesome.
For the most part, I enjoyed the crowd. I thought they were having a real good time, and they were playing into, they were booing the bad guys, they were cheering the good guys, which I like, and they were just losing themselves in the moment of what it was. But yeah, that one moment was a little bit off to me. I've seen some people who hated the crowd altogether, and I feel like that's another form of just prejudice, another form of prejudgment. They're like, "Oh yeah, Bullet Club fans, all these fat sweaty guys in black shirts with neck beards and rah-rah." And it's like that kind of stuff is just as gross as people who are like, "I don't want," maybe not just as gross, but gross as well as people who are like, "I don't want queers in wrestling," or whatever other bullshit that people come out with. Like, let fans be fans, man. We're all fans of this shit. Stop bagging each other. But I thought the crowd were great. For the most part, it was just this one bit where I was like, "Why are you chanting about her legs right now? She just got signed. This is like a big moment in her life, and you're chanting for her legs." All right, cool, good work, guys. But she wasn't the only woman.
No.
They also announced 2 Joshi wrestlers. Are you familiar with either of these women?
Unfortunately, I'm not. But as Brandy said, we're going to get very familiar with these people as the months go on.
Yes, we are. Now, for those who are familiar, All Elite Wrestling just became a promotion to watch because, okay, so, like, they're not fucking around, dude. They're not. Like, when they said that they're going to have the most diverse, talented roster in the world, they were not kidding, dude. Aja Kong is a legend of Joshi Puroresu. An absolute legend. I mean, I'm pretty sure she was in WCW for a while, maybe even WWF. I'd have to check the facts. I probably should, but I know she's been around a long time. She's been in the majors. I've seen her in the majors, and she's still, like, she put on a match last year at Pro Wrestling Eve's Wrestle Queendom against Viper, who is now NXT UK bound, and it was like, I was like, holy shit, Aja Kong can still go, like, not to the same level, but she can still go, and she's just a legitimate badass. Just a badass in there. And she's a bigger woman. And so when they talk about their diversity of like, it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter, what matters is that you're a premier athlete and the best at what you do in this sport. Like, they mean it, dude. It's crazy. So Aja Kong coming in, and then Yuka Sakazaki. Now, everyone thought with Brandy being the executive here that she would be looking to partner with Stardom. So Stardom are sort of the premier Joshi promotion in Japan, and they have relations. So this is where the relationships get really interesting as well, because they are in relationship with Ring of Honor, right? So they're sort of a part of that Ring of Honor New Japan CMLL. They're sort of a partner with all of those. And so people were like, we want to see Mayu Iwatani. Unfortunately, Mayu Iwatani has a multi-year visa for America working with Ring of Honor. So unless Ring of Honor released that visa to All Elite Wrestling, and we know Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling aren't working together, that was never going to happen. So this whole idea that Brandy would have a relationship with Stardom because she's worked for Stardom
No.
That's not the case. While she was in Japan working for Stardom, she has obviously been paying attention to the scene, to what is going on in other places, and that bodes really, really well for All Elite Wrestling. So, Yuka Sakazaki is a member of the Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling roster, and I am a huge fan of Tokyo Joshi. They have like really cartoon, like colorful characters. Yuka is fantastic. She's so fun. She has one of the best entrance themes. I'm going to close the show with it. She has one of the best entrance themes in professional wrestling, and it's going to be really, really fun to see 12 to 15,000, however many they end up getting in this arena, to see them all bopping along to this song. It's going to be very fun. I can't stress enough how anyone who was watching this who was like, oh yeah, it's just the Elite guys. It's just going to be Ring of Honor. It's just going to be New Japan. People who were watching with that expectation, like, dude, time to shut up now, because they've got OWE, they've got AAA, they've got people from Tokyo Joshi Pro. They've like it's insane.
It's all coming together.
The talent roster, yeah. And then of course the big signing. Oh wait, sorry, no, there was one other woman as well, Nyla Rose. Yes. Nyla Rose, who I don't actually know much about, but is a transgender woman. Mm-hmm. So again, they're serious about the representation. They're serious about changing the world. They're serious about these things that they say. And she came out and went face-to-face with Kylie Ray, so we assume that there's going to be a match there. Whether it's going to stay a singles match, we don't know. Maybe the Joshi girls get interjected into that. Who knows what's going to happen? Of course, that adds to Brandy, Britt Baker, and Penelope Ford, who are also on the women's side of the roster. I'm just going to run down every name that we know. Yeah? Cody.
Yes.
The Young Bucks. Chris Jericho. Pac. Hangman Page. Pentagon Jr., Phoenix, they showed up. They showed up and attacked the Young Bucks. They're saying they're going to be the number one team, right? So the Lucha Brothers are All Elite.
Yes.
That angle, I'm going to get into it. That angle should have closed the show. But anyway, Pentagon, Phoenix, Daniels, Kazarian, Scorpio Sky, right? SCU. The Best Friends showed up in full cosplay of Razor Ramon.
Chucky and Beretta. They done good.
Yeah, this is the bad guy. They showed up in full cosplay, Scott Hall. It was amazing. And I think they even tweeted out the picture and they were like, oh, look who signed with WCW. It's amazing. I love it. Because people are calling AEW, like, comparing it to WCW, and I can see why. Like, there is
similarities right now, yeah.
Well, there's similarities in terms of production value. They're clearly, they don't have the level of production of WWE, so it looks like a WCW. Like, their pyro looked like a WCW move as well, but their talent roster, man, it doesn't, like, WCW did not have this level of talent. No. I'm sorry. But yeah, so Chucky and Trent, the Best Friends, they showed up. They're part of the roster now. Of course, we have Joey Janela, we have Shima, and he's going to bring his OWE guys. They got challenged to a match by SCU. So we're going to see a 6-man tag with these OWE guys. Perfect spot for them. I love it. MJF, of course. Jimmy Havoc, we talked about. Jungle Boy, we've talked about. Sonny Kiss, Sammy Guevara, and, of course, the women's division, which we just went through. So this is shaping up already to be an incredible roster.
Absolutely. And
And, of course, there was one name I left off.
Yes, the one name that has been on everyone's lips. The cleaner.
The one name who he's definitely going to go to WWE, you guys. He'd be crazy not to. You can't have a career without going to WWE at some point.
But Kenny Omega, yes, it's confirmed. He is now apparently signed the day of the announcement party. He is now a member of All Elite Wrestling and yet another executive vice president.
He's executive vice president. He had more to do with All In than they let us know. I don't believe it. I like that whole, I signed this morning, you guys. I only made my decision this morning. Bullshit. You wouldn't have had the countdown timer 2 weeks ago on being the Elite if you didn't know then what you were doing. I don't believe you for a goddamn second. It's rule number 1 with wrestling. Don't believe what wrestlers tell you. But yeah, Kenny Omega is All Elite, which I don't think surprises anyone. And what also doesn't surprise anyone is we're getting Alpha Omega 2.
Yeah.
So Chris Jericho interrupts his moment. And I felt like this was a little bit And I know I'm sort of in the minority here. I think that Chris Jericho tries too hard. I love Chris Jericho, don't get me wrong. I think Alpha Omega 2 is going to be an incredible match. I enjoyed Alpha Omega 1. I enjoyed Alpha Club versus Bullet Club. But I just thought that the Lucha Brothers attack angle was way hotter than this, and it should have closed the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know why they closed with Kenny, because Kenny's the hottest free agent. But if you want the tag to main event, if you want to prove to the world that the tag can main event, people knew for sure that Kenny was coming, but people knew that Kenny was coming. As soon as that countdown timer went up, people were like, okay, Kenny's All Elite, right? There was no shock here. There was no surprise here. The Lucha Brothers, we knew they were coming too because they had that handshake agreement. We know they're at least coming to Double or Nothing, but we didn't know what they were going to be doing.
No.
And we didn't know, the extent, because they've still got, Lucha Underground, they've still got AAA, they've still got CMLL, they've still got Impact, they've still got MLW. These guys are everywhere. How is this going to work for them? So to have them show up and be like, yeah, we are All Elite, we are going to be number one, to have them attack the Jacksons, I think it would have made sense as the closer to me.
Yeah, especially with them saying how they want tag team wrestling to be like the most talked about thing. So I do agree with you on that, and just how it seemed like Kenny didn't really recover too well from the attack, quote unquote. He had Chris Jericho's hat on. He did his good night, goodbye.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny. The crowd chanting, "You look good."
See, they had some belters, the fans. Like they were good in some parts. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoyed the fans. Other than the legs chant, I enjoyed the fans, and I don't know why certain people didn't. Danders.
So
she's not going to listen
she's
to
not
this.
Gonna listen. That's fine, guys. So yeah, that was the All Elite Wrestling news that came out from this week. Also, the fact that apparently, within 75 minutes of the announcements, the pre-sales tickets, they had 12,000 sign-up requests in just a little over an hour.
Yeah, no. So we should touch on that. That as soon as they announced that the pre-sale sign-up was happening on the website, the website crashed. When they got it back, so this is including crash time. When they got it back up and running, within 75 minutes, they had 12,000 plus. This is according to Wrestling Observer, Dave Meltzer. So 12,000 plus sign-ups. I mean, if anyone thought they weren't going to sell it out, they're going to sell it out. I wouldn't be surprised if they have to move to a different venue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I don't know if they will want to do that. When Cody said on JR's podcast that they got it measured for, I think, 14,000.
They're about
that's what they're hoping
for that. Yeah, but within the first hour, they're gonna get that.
Yeah, to get 12,000. And I like the way they did the pre-sale. It was a little more convoluted. You got to sign up with your email, and then you'll get a code, and that code guarantees you a pre-sale. So it means that even people with shitty internet, like Australians, they're able to log in with that code, and that code is reserved for them. Mm-hmm. And so you're not going to have people losing out because there are people who are fiber to the home. It's nice that they did that for fans. I think it's a great system, and it's really cool that and it also gives them a gauge of how much interest there is, which obviously
there is
a lot.
So it's like they said, and it's very true. They're here to change the world. Like Jericho, they're going to change the universe. So it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder with Vince, and how much he's paying attention. Because I feel like he should be paying pretty close attention. Like if he didn't because you hear these stories all the time with Vince, right? Like, he doesn't personally watch NXT. He's a very busy man. He doesn't have the hours in the day. If he isn't personally sitting down at this point to see what's going on with this All Elite thing, if he's not personally sitting down to watch Being the Elite, if he's not personally sitting down to watch their rallies, and he's only relying on the words of other people,
there's a problem.
Then, WWE are not going to fare well if that's the case, because other people will be like, oh yeah, they really look second rate Vince. Like, there's going to be yes men in the organization. There's going to be people who want to make Vince feel safe, make Vince feel secure. Right? I don't know if there's that many people in the company that are going to be like, no, Vince, we got a problem, man. We gotta really get our heads on straight. So if he's not watching it personally, then there's a problem. And I sometimes worry about how out of touch he may be.
Yeah. No, we had all these talks when CM Punk had his big pipe bomb. Like he touched on just a lot of the potential yes men, the many yes men in the WWE headquarters. So
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So you worry that, if just how out of touch he might be, and then you get news that he has a yacht.
Yeah, I wanted to end on this.
And
yeah.
He has a yacht.
We seem to find these stories you call them my nice little pieces at the end of each All The Rest episode. So
yeah. The fluff piece. The fluff piece.
But yeah.
So if you need more proof that Vince is out of touch, I can't believe this.
Okay.
God, hit me with it.
All right,
hit me with it. Because just looking at the run sheet, I pop every
So this
time.
was one of the came out a little while ago. There was rumors and innuendo, of course, when Linda McMahon was being elected into government over in America. So people were trying to think of dirt to get up on her about her husband. Apparently, Vince McMahon has a yacht named Sexy Bitch. Yeah.
Sorry, what? Sorry, what was the name?
Sexy Bitch.
Sexy Bitch.
Yeah.
That's the man who wants to compete.
Yep.
I don't know. It's just funny to me. He's just such a funny dude. He's just he's the guy that was never supposed to get rich, and he did it. And honestly, I respect the man, and it's incredible. That's all there is to say. It's incredible. Where can people find you, Mr. Mysterious?
You can find me on all the socials at Mr. Mysterious with a 1 instead of an I. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Get on it, guys. How about yourself?
I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at The Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B Plus Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B Plus Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. And thank you so much for listening.
Catch you guys.
Hold one. Arm drag. You're not good at this. Get out. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon. You just made the list. Oh my God.
Sorry, no speak English.
Dummy. Goodbye and good night. Hold two. Arm bar.
This is the worst town I've ever been in.
It's still real to me, damn it. Dummy. Hold three. The moss covered. 3-handle family good uncle.